I'm not somebody who is prepared to take no for an answer.
He who wields the dagger will never inherit the crown.
Once again, the two contestants for top office battled it out in another husting, this time in the north-east market town of Darlington. In over an hour of speeches and questions, both agreed on topics ranging from the A1 to the economy. Personally, from listening to the both, it feels like the choice isn't that great, to be frank, between an out-of-touch businessman and a Thatcher poser. But nevertheless, here's a rough summary of the key points. Firstly, it'd be wrong not to talk about the economy given the scale of the living crisis that we're currently in. To put it simply, Truss and Sunak are like chalk and cheese. On the one hand, Sunak wants to focus more on providing economic give-out to the people who need it most. Money provided by taxes would be redistributed to lower-income households to help them pay their bills. Tax cuts, something his opponent Truss is proposing, he claims will increase borrowing and inflation. And this, he claims, would put unfair pressure on our children and is a very unconservative thing to do.
But what I won't do is pursue policies that risk making inflation worse and last far longer, especially if those policies simply amount to borrowing tens and tens of billions of pounds, putting them on the country's credit card and asking our kids and our grandkids to pick up the tab. Because that's not right. It's not right. It's not responsible. It's not responsible, and it's certainly not conservative.
Furthermore, he argues tax cuts won't make a difference to people already on low incomes, such as pensioners, as it would only be a matter of a few pounds, or, in the case of pensioners again, absolutely nothing. So this is why he wants to give out direct support. And yet, despite this, he has offered some tax cuts in the form of lower income tax, cuts on VAT on energy bills, and cuts to business taxes. As already mentioned, Truss plans to primarily cut taxes. A theory behind this is that low taxation would drive economic growth and so increase tax revenue.
Well, what I want to do is make sure, first of all, we're reducing taxes, because that is needed to drive economic growth. Currently, the country is predicted to go into a recession. That will be a huge problem. We know what recessions are like. People lose their jobs, there are fewer opportunities, wages are lower, and we need to avoid that. And at the moment, we have the highest taxes in 70 years.
Things she stated would do on day one include reversing the national insurance rise and introducing a temporary moratorium on the green energy levy. Another reason for her plans, however, resembles Thatcherite ideology. She believes people should keep more of what they earn, and one of the reasons she disagrees with Sunak is because she opposes taking money from people in the form of tax and then giving it back to them in handouts. Interestingly, though, she has refused to rule out future handouts and dodged the question when she was asked it.
The first thing we should do as Conservatives is help people have more of their own money. What I don't support is taking money off people in tax and then giving it back to them in handouts. That, to me, is Gordon Brown economics.
Other things they agreed more on. Both recognised the need to fix the NHS. Sunak wouldn't increase funding, Truss would. Yet both accepted it needed reforming. Sunak saying it needs more efficiency, and Truss recognising the excessive bureaucracy.
And I hear too many stories about how there are lots of layers of management in the organisation. There are a lot of central diktats that people aren't able to make decisions about what's best for patients. And I think we need more local decision making. I think we need to, people like you who did a fantastic job coming back into the National Health Service during COVID. I wonder what more we could encourage people to come back to help now that we face issues with waiting lists, issues with people not being able to get GP appointments. But fundamentally for me, the issue does seem to be about excessive bureaucracy.
Similarly, both would continue the process of levelling up. However, while Sunak seemed more interested in green technology, like offshore wind, Truss stated that we should be fracking more and exploiting all of the gas reserves in the North Sea. And Britain is supposed to be leading the climate fight. While Truss is committed to reinstating the Northern Powerhouse Rail, Sunak is not. Their similarities extend to the anti-immigration stance. Truss would keep the Rwanda scheme, but expand it to more countries. Sunak similarly spoke of a bold, radical plan to tackle illegal migration, but said no more.
And it's why I've set out a bold and radical plan to finally get to grips with illegal migration.
And finally, two more minor points when you compare it to the giants like the economy and the NHS. Sunak said that he'd stand up to the woke culture which he claimed is trying to destroy our history and values.
But it's also why I want to stand up to this lefty woke culture that seems to want to cancel our histories, our values, and our women.
Whereas Truss said she'd like to see more crops and livestock on our fields, not solar panels. Not too sure about this one again, given that we should really be driving to energy independence and renewability. Right, so those are the main issues raised during the hustings. Sunak definitely seems to have a stronger economic policy, but I just can't help but feel Truss had more to say on her policies in other areas. So thank you for watching if you made it this far. I hope you found this interesting, and I hope I didn't ramble on too much. Again, thanks.